Right now, somewhere in your chest, something is humming. Your phone buzzes, you check it instantly. Nothing important. You feel the tightness anyway, that low electric pressure behind your ribs, the sense that something is wrong even though nothing has actually happened. You call this anxiety. You blame your inbox, your deadlines, your phone. But the real answer is far stranger than any of that. That feeling in your chest is not a modern malfunction. It is roughly 300,000 years old, and it was never broken. It was built, on purpose, by the same forces that built your eyes and your hands. What if the very thing you are trying to medicate away is actually one of the most successful survival tools your species has ever produced? Go back far enough to the open grasslands of Pleistocene Africa, and there was no 911, no hospital, no way to recover from a single bad decision. A rustle in the grass might be wind. It might also be a predator, crouched low, waiting. The humans who survived were not the calmest ones. They were the ones who flinched first and asked questions later. The psychiatrist Randolph Nesse calls this the smoke detector principle. A smoke detector is tuned to overreact, screaming over burnt toast, because the cost of a false alarm is mild annoyance, while the cost of staying silent during a real fire is catastrophic. Your brain runs on the same logic. It would rather you feel needless dread 99 times than miss the one threat that actually matters. So that racing heart when your phone buzzes at 2 a.m.? You are running ancient threat detection software on hardware that no longer faces ancient threats. And your fear is not random, it is shockingly specific. In the 1990s, psychologists Arne Oman and Susan Minica found that people could be conditioned to fear snakes and spiders almost instantly, a fear that barely faded afterward. Flowers and mushrooms, paired with the same unpleasant stimulus, triggered almost nothing. Why would your brain care so much more about snakes than mushrooms? Because it isn't responding to your life. It's responding to your ancestors' lives, primed with what researchers call prepared learning, fears preloaded by hundreds of thousands of years of selection. Here is the strangest turn. Your alarm system was built for threats with claws and fangs, but the world rarely produces those anymore. So the alarm points itself at emails, at silence after a text, at a meeting 3 days away that hasn't even happened yet. This mismatch has a name: evolutionary mismatch, a trait built for one world straining inside another. It's also why chronic stress does so much damage. The biologist Robert Sapolsky compared human stress to that of zebras. A zebra's stress response shuts off completely the moment the lion is gone. Yours rarely does. You don't just react to the lion, you replay it. Imagine tomorrow's lion. Picture the one from the news. You are, biologically speaking, a zebra that never lets the lion leave. So what do you do with 300,000 years of programming? You can't switch it off with willpower. Nesse argues the goal isn't zero anxiety, since a person who felt no fear at all would have no self-preservation either. The goal is recalibration, noticing when the smoke detector is going off over toast, not fire. That noticing changes something. The next time your chest tightens before an email you haven't opened, you can see the gap between the size of the alarm and the size of the threat. You are not broken. You are running a defense system that kept your entire bloodline alive long enough to produce you. It just hasn't been updated since the savannah. So tonight, when your chest tightens and your phone buzzes and that familiar hum of dread rises, remember what's actually happening. You are not malfunctioning. You are ancient. And the alarm in your chest has been ringing for 300,000 years, faithfully, for exactly one reason: to keep you alive long enough to read this sentence.